and it's set on the right setting.
Yep.
Okay, so this is our second of a weekly series of podcast videos where we're going to talk for like 40 minutes, 45-ish minutes about like anything related to games that are popular as in right now. And what a time to be alive when big budget video game movies are being made. And I don't mean like the Resident Evil. I mean big studios are seriously considering making video game movies. Looking at the Assassin's Creed movie, which
doesn't the Warcraft movie also fall into that
category?
category?
You know what? I can't believe I just forgot. Yeah, the Warcraft movie totally did happen, and that's actually really sad that the Warcraft movie didn't do well either.
It got a 7 out of 10 and 28 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's frustrating. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Assassin's Creed, I think, as a video game series, is horrible. I think it has really good ideas, particularly, like, the freedom that the idea of the series presents, where you could be in any time period you want, like the parkour, the stealth elements. I think it sets up an incredible idea that sadly Ubisoft has really never touched into, except for maybe the second game in the series.
Which I think the problem with the Assassin's Creed movie is less. This is just me, but I think it's less about the directing or the whatever group is.
Oh yeah, I've heard the directing and the acting is really good for the movie.
I think it's less about that and more a fundamental part of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because what makes Assassin's Creed fun is the fact that you can just run around and fuck about and do whatever the hell you want.
Well, it's an open world sandbox game.
When you try to put that into a movie format where you take all control away from the player, and in fact the player doesn't even have any reason to be there anymore, they just become a watcher, it kind of gets rid of the entire point of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, like, the open world games, like, they don't translate well into movies, because the point of an open world game is you're sold on the freedom of the game. And that being said, Assassin's Creed has always been kind of like one of the most restrictive open world games on the market, just due to the little amount of content there is. But it's like
still an open world game.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, like, but that being said, it's also like, I could see, okay, so Assassin's Creed, in my opinion, one of the main things that they keep getting wrong over and over and over again with every single entry into the series is the story. The story, in my opinion, has never been good at all. Like, the stupid, like, Apple or what, like, no one cares about your ancient generic alien artifacts. No one cares about your generic ancient alien civilization. Like, the Animus is a stupid idea because nobody's buying the game to play as some dude that no one cares about in the present. Like, we're buying the game so that we can run around in these historical settings. And it's very frustrating that Ubisoft keeps thinking that their story is really good and that we want more of the end. It's like, no. Like, Assassin's Creed 4, the worst parts of that game were when you weren't being a pirate.
Yeah, that is one thing that I will say. Assassin's Creed 4 was an amazing game.
Shut the fuck up, bird. The bird's squeaking.
It was an amazing game, but an amazing pirate game.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else was rather lackluster.
Yeah, the worst part of Assassin's Creed 4 is when it tries to be an Assassin's Creed game. It's like, oh, can we go back to being a fun pirate game?
the sailing around and raiding other ships.
Oh
and
god,
raiding
yeah,
villages.
listening to the
so damn
listening
fun.
to the sea,
the shanties.
Yeah, the shanties.
Oh, what was it? The "Come all ye young sailor men, listen to me. I'll sing you a song of the fish in the sea." I loved that one.
Yeah, that's a very god. I love Assassin's Creed 4 so much, but. So with Assassin's Creed, I feel like what is interesting, though, is where the Animus is a stupid idea that doesn't work in-game. I could have seen it working in a movie format. The idea of jumping back and forth between past and present.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, like, the trailers at least was like, oh, they're making... What the fuck is the bird yelling about? What are you yelling about? Okay, there's a bird in the background, and it's just...
I have Artemis, an annoying, bratty, selfish little squawk fest, and then her son, or her daughter, Kugel.
Shut the fuck up!
Her daughter, Kugel's over visiting.
Shut the fuck up, Kugel.
No, I think it's Artemis. One moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna go piss them off.
What are they? No, it's okay, they're good. They're just, like, puffing themselves.
Artemis.
What is she yelling about?
I don't know. Whenever she starts screaming, if you go over and, like, stick your finger in her face, she calms down for a while.
Yeah, she's, like, screaming. But, like... Yeah, so... The trailers for the movies look super cool. Like, the idea of Michael Fassbender, like, is on death row, and then it's like, they just inject him with something that knocks him out, and then he's, like, taken to, like, a secret thing, and they're like, oh, you're dead to the public, and it's like, now we're gonna experiment on you and strap you to this machine because we're trying to harvest your memories. And then it's like, oh, that's cool. And then I guess it didn't work.
I thought about it a little bit, and I think the problem with I never really thought about it until now, but the problem with the Animus in the games is the fact that the introduction of the Animus turns it into a metagame.
It turns it into a video game.
You're playing someone playing a game, but it doesn't play that to comedic effect, or it doesn't do it ironically, which all other metagames do.
Yeah. It's also, like, I think that one of the issues... Because, like, I had a friend who went to go see the movie, and he brought a buddy with him, and his buddy doesn't play video games, but his friend was able to point out... He was like, that's probably in the video game, right? That's probably a video game thing. Like, the video gamey elements of the movie apparently stood out really obviously, and I feel like the Animus, you could say, like, that's super... Don't call it the Animus! Don't name it. Just hook them up to a weird machine. Boom, we're done. Like, that's it. Like, don't like Animus, trademark. Assassin's Creed Blades, trademark. Like, Hood, trademark. Like, there are all sorts of video gamey elements that, yeah, in the game, you're like, oh, this is cool. But in a movie, it would stand out as super gimmicky.
What the hell are they doing now?
Yeah, what are they doing? Oh my god, they're like fighting.
They're fighting over the food bowl.
Oh, they're fighting over the food.
There's food in there.
Okay, that's what they're yelling about. Okay. Okay. But have you seen the Resident Evil movies?
I have not, and I have heard to never see them because they are horrendous.
Yeah, the first couple are really bad because they try to be serious. And then the last couple, it's like, this is like, I don't know if it's bad on purpose, but like, I remember the last one that I saw had a lot of laugh out loud moments where like a window shattered and then like the female lead kicked a blade of glass just right that it spun across the room into a dog and like cut it in half like a zombie dog. So there were a lot of really laugh out loud moments like that.
Yeah, looking at it, the Resident Evil movies at best have gotten a 7 out of 10 or a... What was it? 50?
Oh, you're looking at IMDb. No. You want to look at Rotten Tomatoes.
They've gotten at best a 31 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's about right.
Of course, that's not counting the most recent one, which doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score for some reason.
It's been a while since I've seen the Silent Hill movie, but I remember that one, like, as a movie being really bad, but, like, as a video game movie not being that bad. I mean, that being said, we can't settle for just like, for a video game movie, it's not that. No, like, we should settle for the best adaptation possible. And just being like, it's alright, isn't good enough. For me, a video game movie should be able to stand on its own as a movie without any connection to the video game. And there also needs to be certain liberties taken, I think, because, like we said or like I said, video games, like there are video gamey elements to video games that do not translate on screen, like the assassin blades drawing attention to them. It's very obvious that's a video game thing. Same with the Animus, drawing attention to it. It's like, that's super something from a video game. Why are you putting so much emphasis on that? That's immersion breaking. Just don't call it anything. Don't draw any attention to it. It's just a weirdo machine that they hooked up Michael Fassbender to. They can name it in a sequel or whatever.
You know, something that I do want to know, why the hell is it called the Animus in the first place?
Wait, hang on. Here's the definition.
Because the word animus
motivation to do something.
The word animus means hostility or ill feeling or motivation to do something.
Or wait, what's that last one?
Jung's term for the masculine part of a woman's personality in psychology.
That would be great if that was why they called it that. It's called the Animus because all of the main characters of Assassin's Creed are are actually secretly all females, and they're tapping into their inner masculinity. That would be hilarious if that was why they called it the Animus. But no.
It might be based off of literally the same word from Latin, which means spirit or mind.
I can tell you that is exactly why they called it the Animus.
But that's still a really crappy name.
Yeah, that's on the nose, very blunt, very obvious. It's like if when you have a main character and in a sci-fi thing and he sacrifices himself at the end and his name is John. It's like, okay, I get it. I see the biblical significance. Or, like, there was this one sci-fi thing, I forgot where I read it, but it was, like, basically, there was this, like, thing where they were trying to get to this, like, safe haven. It's, like, a post-apocalyptic world or whatever, and there's, like, this sci-fi thing that's, like, keeping them from getting to, like, the perfect place, like, the safe zone. And they had to cross a thing called the Red Sea. Oh, and the main character's name was Moses. It's like, get it? Get it? Because Moses parted the Red Sea and led his followers to the Promised Land. Get it? Like, stuff like that where it's super on the nose what they're trying to do.
If you want, as a note to anyone who's going to be making biblical references in future movies, video games, whatever, look towards the Binding of Isaac for actually well done ones.
Yeah, Binding of Isaac
they don't shut... One of the things that I love about that game is it doesn't shove all of the biblical references in your face, yet at the same time they're very noticeable and not in an annoying way.
Yeah.
And then it also doesn't paint Christianity as bad or good. It's just a religion, like any other religion on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, which... Yeah, there are some games that definitely don't handle religion too well. Like the symbolism, or like... It's like, I know you're trying to be deep, but it comes across as trying really hard.
Then there's also the Well, I can kind of understand it, but the really weird obsession that people have with the whole angel versus demon thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and like...
Why does everything always have to be, like, the Earth gets destroyed in the conflict between the heavenly dimension and the demonic dimension?
Well, that's in reference to...
I get it's in reference to the...
Was it the Book of Armageddon, where it's like they said that the end times there will be... Like, Earth will become a battleground?
Oh my god! The Book of Armageddon?
Is that what it's called?
The Book of Revelations!
Oh yeah! Hang on, let me see.
Jesus
I know
Christ
that there was supposed... I know Revelations, but I swear Book of Armageddon... I'm not crazy. Armageddon... Shut the fuck up! There's the phone! Shut up! Armageddon... Oh god, this is like one of those moments where I'm having like a brain fart and I can't remember. What is the Battle of Armageddon? Oh, it's the Battle of Armageddon. No, not the Book of Armageddon. The Battle of Armageddon.
Yeah.
Where, like, the Earth is turned into a battleground, which, like...
Yeah, like, there are 7 angels that blow 7 trumpets, and the 6th angel breaks 7 seals before blowing his trumpet, and each one basically just fucks the Earth over even more as demons pour out of some pit in the middle of nowhere.
And then they have to pat the top of their heads and rub their tummies at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very... reading the Bible, obviously without trying to get into a huge religious debate or whatever, like, some of the Bible stuff, like, if you don't know that a lot of it is supposed to be symbolic and not literal, like, the Bible can come across as even more nonsensical, I should say. And this is coming as someone who actually believes in God. Yeah, the Bible has a lot of stuff where it's like, that's kind of dumb.
One thing that, on the topic of Revelations, you know the 4 horsemen, right? Pestilence, famine, war, and death.
By the way, before you keep going, I know exactly how we're going to take this back to Assassin's Creed. But go ahead.
So, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Famine, war, pestilence, and death.
Uh-huh.
Pestilence is not and has never been a horseman.
Really?
There was never a pestilence in the Book of Revelations.
Well, okay.
It was famine, war, death, and conquest.
Ho ho ho.
Conquest rode atop a white horse who came to conquer, who came for conquest and to conquer, or something of the sorts.
I feel like that would just fall into the war category.
No, but it's more what I believe it was supposed to be. You alright?
Yeah.
What I believe it's supposed to be relating to how you said things aren't meant to be taken literally, more symbolically.
Oh, it's like literally conquest, like plundering.
War is the violence and aggression, whereas conquest is the desire to steal and plunder from others.
Okay, yeah, okay, got it. Like,
war
conquest
is the physical brutality, conquest is the national governmental part of warfare.
Okay, like the clever tactics and like the I've taken over all of this fucking place. Well, war is we are literally in battle this second killing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure pestilence was a part of famine, but then there was some...
Yeah, I feel like famine would be like, because pestilence is part of famine.
There was some
things start to decay and rot when they're malnourished.
There was some mistranslation somewhere along the way that basically ended up turning conquest somehow into pestilence, and I don't get why. But I really like pointing that out because I think conquest is so much better. Like, looking at it purely from like a video gamey standpoint in terms of something you could put in a video game, conquest would be such a cooler character than pestilence.
Yeah, you find the horse of conquest in Red Dead Redemption, and then it turns it into a real-time strategy game where you have to negotiate with the zombies.
No, but I mean, like, taking the example of Red Dead Redemption's zombie campaign, there was Famine, who did something like slowing over time, and then if the zombies stay in the slow field for too long, they die. Death leaves a fire trail. War leaves a fire trail. Death just flat out blows the head up of any zombie that touches it. Then Pestilence was just kind of like, what the fuck does this do? But, like, think about it. As Conquest, what could happen is, as you charge forward, zombies would just randomly die as you keep going forward.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't be like War where it leaves a death trail or Death where it just kills things.
Yeah.
Random zombies would be selected. They would be selected to have the honor of being killed by you in a very like conquest.
You're moving forward and taking down all threats.
They're sacrifices so that you can become stronger, kind of thing.
But you know, as much as I love to talk about Red Dead Redemption and its 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
4 horses of the apocalypse. The horsemen aren't actually in it. Just
thinking
the horses.
Of, when we talk about Revelations, there's an Assassin's Creed game called Revelations. And there was a movie recently released in the theaters called Assassin's Creed based off of the game. And this movie apparently isn't that good, and it's not doing too well at the box office.
What the hell was Assassin's Creed Revelations again?
Isn't that the one where you play as Ezio, but he has like a beard now?
Oh yeah, you're in the Middle East for some reason.
Oh, because it's supposed to be like, hey, remember the man from the first game?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the point of the? I don't know. Like
I played. Now that I remember it, I did play through Revelations at one point, and like it was fun, and it was nice because it was Ezio, and Ezio's like kind of the only interesting protagonist.
He is the only interesting one. He's literally the only interesting one in the entire series.
He was the most fleshed out, and he was the least cliche. But like, what the hell was I gonna say? Damn it, I lost my train of thought.
I remember when it came out, seeing you playing it and thinking that it just looked like DLC for Assassin's Creed 2.
It did add in a lot of new stuff. A lot of it was gimmicky, but it was still rather interesting. Like things like you could, as you went around and you set up assassin outposts or whatever they're called, you could call rookie assassins to assist you. And it was like, look at an enemy, go into your skill wheel, use the takeout skill, and a junior assassin would just spawn nearby, work his way to that person, kill them, and disappear.
Okay, that's fun.
Which, from a story standpoint, it's kind of interesting. It shows that you're not the only assassin in the world. Surprise, surprise. And then also from a gameplay standpoint, it was nice. And you could like upgrade it to stuff like arrow rain, where a whole bunch of assassins would crawl out of the woodworks from behind you and fire their bows at a location and then crawl away.
You know, it'd be super cool is if they tried to make a Splinter Cell Chaos Theory-esque Assassin's Creed game where it's like drop the open world gimmick, like make
carefully constructed mission-based story mode.
Yeah, where it's like here's your drop-off point, and then it's like you're just slowly working your way through like a mansion or whatever, and it's like not a linear level, it's literally like a building, and you just have to make your way through the building to kill a guy.
Like, what was it? Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero? Where you're just kind of given a big building,
where it's just like
find your way to the objective, and do it, and then get out, however you want to.
Yeah, and do it like that, and make it try to do actual like stealth mechanics in the game, not just like where Assassin's Creed holds your hand, and it's like, here's the part of the game where you crouch. Here, we'll crouch for you. Although I know that the latest Assassin's Creed games finally found the innovative crouch button. But, like, I want them to take the stealth elements and go nuts. Like, make a good stealth game that doesn't have X-ray vision so you can see people through walls and put waypoint markers above their heads and...
One of the,
And a mini-map, because, every open-world game needs a mini-map.
One of the issues that Assassin's Creed does have, like, thinking about it, and this is criticism because This is criticism because I want to like the games. I'm pointing out things that I think they should improve so that the games can improve. Not me just hating on it because I'm hating on it. Specific commenter. But,
Oh my god, you made somebody angry. No.
Yeah,
so there was somebody in our last podcast who got super mad because I trash-talked Assassin's Creed. We're not just trash-talking it because we hate it and we love that we hate it. I would like to like Assassin's Creed, but a few things that it does prevents me from liking it.
Genuine criticism is something so that the object can improve, not just because criticism. But, what I was saying, stealth games are about rewarding patience.
Yeah.
In stealth games, you're gonna have to sit there for a long, long time as you wait for the right moment to appear. In Assassin's Creed, it tries to blend stealth and action, which doesn't really work. It doesn't really work out that well.
Metal Gear Solid 5 does it. The problem is what it does is it so it tries to blend both, but it doesn't where it's kind of like what's the saying, like something of both, Master of None?
Yeah, Master of...
No, hang on.
something
Yeah,
of
oh my
both.
gosh. Yeah, it's one of those days. Yeah, I completely forgot that saying. But it's like, that's kind of, that applies to Assassin's Creed, where it's like, it doesn't do the action very well, because the combat isn't very
Jack
good.
of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, like, it's not very interesting, the combat, and the stealth also isn't interesting, but both aren't, like, bad. And that's the problem with Assassin's Creed. Now, if they were to make incredible stealth mechanics and incredible combat mechanics, so you could truly choose.
Another part of it that is probably a lot of the issue is the fact that it's so dumbed down for casual audiences.
Yeah, the gameplay's
Metal
very
Gear
dumbed
Solid
down.
5 gets away with the action stealth because it's so goddamn complicated.
Yeah, although it's not that.
Well, it's not that complicated, but
you still
the
have
amount
to press left trigger if you're spotted, and you instantly whip around to the guy who saw you in slow-mo, and you can kill him instantly before he raises the alarm.
Oh, yeah.
So there are certain... But, yeah. Like, Metal Gear Solid 5 compared to Assassin's Creed is much more detailed, like, its stealth mechanics.
Oh, on the topic of movies...
Yeah. Oh, that's right!
Solid 5 or not Metal Gear Solid 5, a Metal Gear movie. Do you think?
That would be nonsense.
Did you think, though?
Nonsense. Well, what genre would that be? Because it wouldn't be stealth, because Metal Gear isn't like... Metal Gear is never... Well, no, it used to be a stealth series, but it's kind of like, how would you fit all of that into an hour-and-a-half movie?
What about a mini-series, then?
Well, even... I feel like Metal Gear is a series that works best in a video game, because it's like you've got insane stuff where you got a guy who wears an eye patch who looks like Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, who is a clone of a villain, and he fights people with gas masks and psychic powers and giant robots called metal... it would be insane as a movie. We're talking about how, video game movies don't translate well into film because of video gamey elements. That would shatter the big screen. Everyone would leave the theater laughing so hard because of how silly it is.
What if they played it for silly
effect? That would be great. But I still feel like it would be kind of dumb just because it's, Metal Gear. I don't know. There are... Ubisoft now wants to make a Division movie, and I'm just like, what? Why? Why? What about the...
One, why do we need another post-apocalyptic movie? Two, why? Just why?
Look, this isn't a criticism of the Division or whatever. Have your own opinions about it. What I'm talking about is the idea... what about the Division as a video game needs a movie adaptation?
Income. Don't you know, Charles? Video games don't
money.
Sell to entertain people. They sell to bring the companies money.
Just what could you... I can't think of anything about the Division that I'm like, that could make for a cool movie. It would just be a post-apocalyptic movie. And the thing is, the Division doesn't have characters, main characters or anything with its story.
It's an RPG, isn't it?
I think it tries to, and it doesn't do it too well. But that none of those people would be in the movie, and none of them are memorable. So it's what you'd have to create new characters. In which case, why don't you just make a post-apocalyptic? Why do you have to attach the name The Division? It's just so weird. Why The Division? It's like making a Call of Duty movie where it's unless it's an adaptation of one of the Modern Warfares or the Black Ops games where they're heavily story driven, it would just be a war movie. Battlefield wants to... EA announced a year ago or so that
Battlefield movie?
No, a Battlefield TV series. And I'm just why? What? Battlefield, a multiplayer... Why a TV series? How is that gonna work?
That wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That would be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, it's super stupid. And it's kind of like, it makes me happy that, like, certain things, like the Bioshock movie, the Halo movie, like, those movies fell through and didn't end up getting made. And I'm just like, I'm happy.
Wait, there was a Bioshock movie?
Yeah, at some point. And I guess there was, like, they wanted Bioshock, the movie, the reason it fell through is because they wanted it to be PG-13, the studios.
How could Bioshock ever be PG-13?
Yeah, exactly.
The entire point of the series is the fact that, like, the adult parts of the adult only, because we all know 13-year-olds and younger play it, but the adult parts
violence
of the game, how that has taken its toll on Rapture.
Yeah, it's like
the drugs and the violence and the addictions. You can't take that.
Yeah,
out
if I
of a
remember
movie
right,
and make it a Bioshock movie.
If I remember, I read somewhere with specific quotes that they didn't want the Eve and the atom in it because those are needles. You know?
So dumb, though.
Yeah, I remember hearing some stuff about that. And it's just like, I'm happy that it didn't get made because Bioshock, the idea of the first game, the commentary that it tries to provide is very video game specific, where it's supposed to be a commentary on how you just blindly follow quest markers and voices over a radio and you never question them in video games. You know, it's always like, Ramirez, do this, like, and you never question it because you never even see the guy. You follow your orders. Where in Bioshock, it's like, hey, like, you have no freedom. You're a slave to video games. You just blindly follow orders. And that's supposed to be the commentary that Bioshock 1 provides. And it's like, how would you do that in a movie? Like, how would you do something clever like that in a movie?
Yeah, according to the Bioshock wiki, they were trying to push it for an R rating. However, no studio was willing to invest in such expensive project with a violent theme.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, that's disappointing, but gratifying, would that be the word? Like, I'm sad that no one would be willing to invest in a Bioshock movie, but I'm happy that no one invested in it, so it didn't get ruined.
Yeah, because it probably would have been a disaster either way. Like, there, and the thing is, Bioshock, I feel like that is, super a game that wouldn't translate well onto the big screen. Like, the Big Daddy, the Splicers, the Eve hypos, like, the Plasmids and the Superpower, like, it would scream this is a video game adaptation because of how silly a lot of its mechanics are when you look at them on paper. And so, is this supposed to be like concept art?
I'm on the Bioshock wiki right now, looking at the movie, and there are a couple of storyboards, particularly with some point near the beginning, encountering the Splicer that was fretting over the baby carriage at the very, very beginning.
Oh, jeez.
Remember the one that had a gun in it?
Yeah.
It looks like the storyboard was supposed to be protagonist encounters baby carriage splicer, spider splicer suddenly crawls out of the wall, slaughters the baby carriage splicer, goes to attack the protagonist, but all he has is a tennis racket. He somehow survives long enough for a second survivor to come over and rescue him.
Yeah, that sounds dumb. That sounds kind of stupid. It sounds like a zombie apocalypse movie or something.
Yeah, thinking about it, a Bioshock movie that might actually kind of work, though it would probably be one of those, like, extremely long 3+ hour ones, would maybe be something to do with the downfall of Rapture.
Yeah, definitely something like that could be interesting. And, like, have it kind of, like, don't make it an action movie, make it like The Godfather or something, where it's slow, meticulous, plotting, like...
From the protagonist's eyes as Rapture begins to crumble and collapse around them.
Well, I'd like to see a movie just about, like, the everyday life of Andrew. Like a Citizen Kane-esque movie about Andrew Ryan. His, like, rise and then fall from power.
The Bioshock book did that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, didn't you say, like, the Bioshock book, though, wasn't, like, anything to write home about?
It's one of those... If you're not a super big fan of Bioshock, don't pay it any attention, but if you really want more Bioshock, go look at it. but only if you really want more Bioshock.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good addition to the series, but at the same time, it doesn't really give that much to the series for anyone other than the most diehard of fans.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Movies, video game movies. Anything else we can say except it's probably a good thing that like a lot of video game movies aren't made, and like, oh, I'd like them to be made, but realistically, I think more of me is happy that they aren't tackled as much as they probably should be, because I'm like video games are video games. They aren't movies. That's what makes video games special. What are the birds doing?
Gymnastics.
Oh, they're like climbing everywhere. Hi, Kugel.
Artemis.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, but one...
You used to be a ferocious dinosaur, now you're a little chicken.
One of the big things about video games is, even for the more linear ones, the thing with video games is the fact that you're in control, and then with movies, you lose control.
Yeah, and...
Things don't go very well past that.
Yeah, things don't. And then, because, like, the thing is, a video game, a lot of the... video games are, like, 90% action. Like, if it were an action movie, it would be almost all action, non-stop action, because of levels.
What about it's not a video game movie, but, oh, what was the name? That one first-person movie?
Oh!
What was the name of that thing?
Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry.
I heard it wasn't that good. But I heard it wasn't that good not because, like... It wasn't that good for the exact reasons that you would think, where it was like a non-stop action sequence. It was like an action sequence that lasted an hour and 30 minutes. And it's like... It's more of like Hardcore Henry is very exhausting to watch. Because it's just, like, non-stop adrenaline that never cools down.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics' consensus is that it is a action movie that puts action first while throwing characters, story, and character development out the window.
Which is okay, because, like, that was the point of the movie. You're, like, you are essentially a video game character in an action movie, where you're seeing it from the first person. But it's like, but that sounds like it should be a video game.
It kind of reminds me of something that someone said recently, I can't quite remember who, where even if something is made to prove a specific point, if that thing isn't entertaining and fun, it's still a bad thing.
Yeah. Where it's like, hey, that's a good idea, but the thing is, like, it's not fun.
I think it was actually, Jim Sterling on the... Because you know how Steam Greenlight has been flooded with so much shit?
Yep.
Someone made a game called Watching Paint Dry, the video game, which the entire point of watching paint dry is literally to laugh at all of the shit that's getting put in Greenlight. And his comment on that is, it doesn't matter if it has a point to prove, it's still boring and uninteresting.
Yeah, that's about right. So, anything else to say on video games?
Anything else? Nothing's coming to mind. We've got burned ourselves out.
I guess that's it.
That's it.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you whenever.
Remember to leave a like on the video because YouTube's search algorithm is all sorts of fucked.
YouTube.
But yeah, alright.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.